Welcome. We are your hosts, Chris and Tammy.
In this podcast, we dive into the mindset for networking strategies and skills you'll need to build a solid foundation to build a global business.
We've built a multi-million-dollar business and have mentored thousands of people around the globe in the last 25 years. Today, Tammy and I want to share something that we have been applying for quite a few years. And Tammy and I, as you know, we've always been open on how we go about doing things. So we prepared this training. It's a really simple training, but how we go about defining the perfect life.
Chris and I recently were on a mentorship session, and that was basically what we did. We sat back, we probably took about an hour in our mastermind break to start to break down some of the things that we want in the next 6 months and a year from now. And it's good to sit back and do this because often we forget, even if you have the vision board created, you know, it's not like every day, like mine's just around here. It's not like every day I'm back there looking at it, right? So it's something that we need to refresh sometimes and bring that back in the front of our minds of what we want to accomplish in the remainder of our lives. Always a long-term goal. I find that really, really important for that direction, destination kind of thing. And that evolves over time. Obviously, if you're working towards it. And it's really important to sit back and decide, because if you don't, life will decide for you. Mm-hmm. And we all know that.
So the next stage that we want to do here, this is interactive, folks. And I'd like you to decide the things that matters to you, that are important to you. So what does the perfect life means to you? So we're talking about happiness. We talk about health. We talk about a financial abundance. We talk about a fulfilling relationship, career of success, personal growth, work-life balance, adventure and travel, spiritual fulfillment. Keep that in mind on the thing that, and there might be some other points that we haven't covered here, and I'm sure they are. So at this point, what's important is to identify the thing that matters to you. And start putting the focus on those. What is the most important? And I know that it might be a lot of aspects, and I can tell you that if you're like me, sometimes I get a little bit overwhelmed. There's so much to do. There's so much to cover. There's so many things that I want to work on. Don't get overwhelmed by that. Just pick one and focus on that. And then move on to the next one. If you recall, we did a training on the SMART goals. What is a SMART goal? And this is very important. One thing about, I'm just giving you an example because I want to use me as an example, is I'm very specific on what I want. So I can measure. That's very important to me. Very specific so I can measure. And there's also achievable. It has to be also relevant, but it has to be time bound. In other words, it's not something about whenever it happens, because that whenever it happens can never happen. You really want to clarify your goals. Be very, very, very specific. For example, I want to increase my saving by $5,000 in the next 6 months, right? Measurable. The thing is, you want to be able to quantify. For example, I'm going to be saving, for example, $833 per month, maybe by not going on the restaurants as often. Right, I'm just giving you some examples. There might be many of them, right? It has to be achievable, right? It has to be realistic. We're talking right now the reality of you achieving those goals here. What we're doing is we're designing your life, and the key is to be very, very, very specific. And the thing here is, it has to be measurable, and it also has to be achievable. So you can actually recognize, well, if I do this, or I do that, if I sponsor one more person per month, or if I do, if I start maybe hosting events, or if I do more in-homes, or whatever the situation may be. So I could be in front of more leads. So that is exactly what Tammy and I are doing right now, as a matter of fact. We know exactly what we want, and we know exactly what the activities and the effort we need to do. So it has to be achievable. It also has to be relevant. It has to align with your goals. Sometimes, it's really interesting, but folks are really busy doing a lot of stuff, but the stuff they're really busy doing are not aligned with really what they want, what matters. All of that has to fit. Otherwise, you'll never get the life that you want to create. You'll have to have the life that you have to live based on the situation of your financial situation or whatever the situation may be. So your goals has to be aligned with what you want to achieve in life. Very important. And sometimes this could be hard decisions for some of us. That means that you may have to stop doing something, maybe that you felt kind of attached to emotionally, whatever the situation may be. And I'm not saying you need to break free from that. What I'm saying is you need to decide whatever you want. I'm telling you, these things may seem simplistic and even kind of obvious, but these are the difficult decisions that sometimes we have to make. And time bound is you want to have some specific times, deadlines. For example, in the next 6 months, I'm going to add $5,000 into my savings, whatever that may be. And from there, you can start making logical decisions, logical steps towards achieving. That's what we mean by introducing SMART goals. You define your goals, but your goals have to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. This is what has made a very big difference. And it has completely changed the life that we used to have compared to the life that we have here today.